I've recently turned 40 and I thought this would be a great time to share my 28-year fitness transformation. The mistakes that I've made, the lessons I've learned, and hopefully by the end of this video, you get a huge head start on me so that it doesn't take you 28 years to get into the best shape of your life. Now, I must add that I did this naturally. I have never in my life taken anabolic steroids, testosterone, and I know that a lot of people have become desensitized to that very notion. In fact, I'm sure some of you right now are even typing in this very video, I'm a liar, I'm a fraud. I've heard it all in the 12 years that we've done this channel. So I wanna ask you guys a question. What do you think a natural who has worked out for 28 years should look like? Do you even believe naturals still exist? Let me know, and for the rest of you, let's get started on the fitness transformation journey beginning in my teenage years. And for those of you who don't know, we just released our new Buff app. It is a workout and training app. It's got over 400 exercise tutorials and of course a leveling up system unique to our app where you work on the most important character that you will ever level up, that being yourself. We're extremely proud of it, and I just want to take a moment to thank the community we're building there. I love seeing all of your workout updates. You helped inspire me, and it's really something that I wished I would have had in the beginning of my fitness journey, and it's a culmination of all our experience put into one application. So if you get a chance, check it out. Link in description. It's available on Apple and Android, and I really hope you enjoy it. The first time I set foot in a gym, I was 14, and I was immediately captivated by the sights and sounds. I saw the Frank Frazetta posters on the wall. I saw the dudes that my dad worked out alongside. They kind of looked like Gimli from Lord of the Rings. It was the smell of sweat and the old weights, and I was captivated. We just repped out those bicep curls. We hit as many bench press sets as we could. Me and my younger brother Brandon, we couldn't even move our arms at the end of the day. And funny enough, that type of training worked. It maybe wasn't scientific, but the results were happening. We were getting bigger, we were getting stronger. And this is where I made my first major mistake. I wanted it quicker. I wanted it faster. So I started eating everything in sight. And in my mind, I thought, well, as long as I keep the food healthy, I'm going to have healthy benefits. And I couldn't have been more wrong. I was just in way too much of a calorie surplus, and I started to just look like this doughy pile of flesh. And I got really, really depressed because I thought, how do I look way worse now than when I started working out? So I almost started to correlate the gym with the negative experience, and it was heading into my 20s, I had almost stopped working out completely. So the teenage workout experience started super strong and ended in total defeat. Heading into my early 20s, the gym was extremely inconsistent for me, and as I had said, it had left a lot of bad memories, and my physique had never fully recovered. I had gotten overweight. I had a lot of stretch marks because my skin couldn't keep up with the amount of weight I was putting on. There was a lot of negatives, which is kind of wild because you go to the gym to look and feel better, right? Well, I was not looking and feeling better. And to almost add insult to injury, Brandon had entered a team bodybuilding competition. He had won it, and I thought to myself, wait a sec, we've been working out together, we lived under the same roof, we were eating alongside one another. How come he looked like this and I look like this? What? And it made me feel even worse because I thought, is it just me? Is it just my genetics? How can that even be possible? Because we both had the same mom and dad. I had to humble myself a little bit, step back and go, what was I doing wrong that he was doing right? And something that Brandon figured out very quickly, number one was consistency, because when I was really honest with myself, I was not being consistent. I was going into the gym, destroying myself, and then maybe coming back another day of the week, maybe two. It was all over the place. And another thing was my eating. Again, I had thought as long as I ate what I considered healthy, I would be totally fine, and I couldn't be more wrong. And he turned me on to calorie and macronutrient tracking. In fact, he kept detailed statistics of everything he ate during the day on a piece of paper. Again, this was pre-app on your phone, so he just had to do it the old school way, and over time it worked. But it took work. And that was something that I learned heading into my 20s, that if I was going to make this work, I was going to have to put in the work. And once I started doing that, well, it was no surprise that it started working. I started to get into shape that I had never seen myself in before. I had started to unveil that physique underneath all that flab, and I thought, this is absolutely amazing. And then I went ahead and screwed it up again because I got too extreme. I thought, well, this is looking so good. How about I get even more extreme with my calorie and macronutrients? So I dropped the calories all the way down to 1900 a day. I made it so that the only macronutrient I was really having was protein. Carbs were bad, fats were bad. Protein builds muscle, so protein is good. And again, it did work to an extent, but the problem was it was so extreme, it was hard to maintain. My 30s. Heading into my 30s, I was looking good, but I was not really feeling great due to the extreme measures I was taking in order to maintain my physique. And I got a crazy idea in my head. I thought, if I'm gonna fall off the wagon this time, I am gonna fall head first. I am gonna eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and kind of put myself through the experiment of what would happen if you had no rules and you could do whatever you wanted. And that's exactly what I did. At that period of time, I was working 3 separate jobs. We were also trying to start our Buff Dudes channel on YouTube, which was not profitable for years after having started it. So I think it was just the stress of everything I was going through. I thought, I'm just gonna use food as comfort, and I am going to comfort the fuck out of myself. And that is exactly what I did. And the results were insane. I would just look at myself in awe every morning as I continued to balloon to a size that I had never gotten to prior. And it was right around this time when we started our very first 12-week workout plan. And I thought, this is the opportunity to reverse this madness I put myself through and try to bring myself to the next level. And again, with a goal in mind, that's exactly what I did. In a 3-month period of time, I was able to get back to where I was prior and even better. And really, through many years afterwards, I stuck to that. I had put everything I had learned in the prior 15 years or so of training, and I put it all together and I stayed consistent with it, because those were 2 things that I always struggled with: my diet and consistency. And in the meantime, I really tried to focus on continuing to learn more about the gym experience, because even though I loved it and it was always there, you can always get better. So I would say that's what I spent a big bulk of my 30s doing, was just trying to get better. Just trying to stay consistent, not backsliding into prior bad habits. And that worked great. When I was in my mid-30s, me and my wife, we started to have children, and my physique started to backslide a little bit because I had a lot of new stresses in my life. Breaking my ankle in 3 different places in my late 30s was a really big setback. It rendered me unable to walk for almost a year. I wasn't able to really train the way I was before for almost 2 years. But again, it was another thing that I looked at as a challenge as opposed to an insurmountable obstacle or roadblock. I just thought, I'm gonna overcome this. I am going to not only get back to where I was previously, but I'm going to get even better. Again, really focusing on that mental fortitude in order to overcome almost any obstacle in your way. We also started to experiment with diets on our channel. And again, I became a little bit of a guinea pig, trying keto, carnivore, vegan. My weight was again beginning to fluctuate all over the place because I was trying all these new extreme ways of eating. And it got to a point finally where both me and Brandon had to tell ourselves, we want to get back to something consistent. And that is where my 30s ended, realizing I was about to enter a big new decade and telling myself, I want to take everything I've learned and apply it to this new era of my life, because it's right around this time where a lot of dudes you'll find get very down on themselves. I'm not like I was in my 20s. I'm not like I was in my 30s. I've never liked that style of thinking. I've always liked, I want to try to get better. I do not want to be a defeatist. I feel probably one of my greatest strengths is just tenacity. I don't want to give up, and I don't want to do or feel a certain way just because people tell me that I should do or feel that thing. I want to tackle the challenge myself, and I want to overcome that challenge. And that was exactly my goal as I celebrated my 40th birthday. My 40s. This is the decade a lot of dudes start to feel broken down, or at least they're told they should feel they're breaking down. Go to the men's wellness clinic, try to relive your glory days in your early 20s. For me, I never really thought like that, because a lot of the dudes I grew up idolizing as a kid entered their prime in their 40s. And I thought, why shouldn't I aspire to be like that as well? So I knew I needed to set a new goal. And that goal for me is entering a classic physique bodybuilding competition, because I want to take myself to the next level. I feel like in the journey of life, you should never quit. You should always stay tenacious. You should never accept defeat, because once you let those negative thoughts into your head, misery loves company. It's just gonna snowball. And I've already been there. I already experienced that in my late teens, where I got dissatisfied and almost started to blame it on the gym. And that's not the way I want to live my life. I want to live my life positive. I want to live my life healthy. So wish me luck. I hope this video has helped you out in some small way. Follow me along, because I'll be posting updates on the channel of my preparation. And until next time, stay buff.